The chamomile tea smelled bitter, but Rebecca drank it anyway. 5 minutes later, she collapsed. Her husband found her on the floor. He called 911. He seemed concerned, worried, loving. But here's what he didn't know. The security cameras were recording everything. What they captured that day would expose a plot so twisted, so calculated, that prosecutors called it one of the most chilling cases they'd ever seen. A millionaire husband, his pregnant wife, his beautiful mistress, and $100 million in insurance money. Someone was going to die. The only question was, who? This is the true story of Rebecca Hayes, a woman who was 8 months pregnant when her husband decided she was worth more dead than alive. A woman who survived attempted murder, who gave birth while her husband sat in handcuffs, who discovered that the man she married was a stranger, a dangerous stranger. The security footage showed everything: the poison, the planning, the betrayal. But it also revealed something nobody expected, a twist so shocking that even the detective couldn't believe it. By the end of this story, you'll understand three things. First, that evil doesn't always look like evil. Sometimes it looks like charm, success, love. Second, that survival is a choice, a hard choice, but a choice nonetheless. And third, that the most dangerous prisons are the ones we build for ourselves. So settle in, turn off distractions, because this 90-minute story will take you on a journey through betrayal, survival, and ultimate justice. And I promise you, the ending will shock you. Let's begin. The chamomile smelled bitter. Becca paused, the porcelain cup halfway to her lips. She inhaled again. Something was off, not spoiled exactly, just wrong. "You feeling okay, sweetheart?" Marcus called from the hallway. She set the cup down on her desk. Her hand trembled slightly. 8 months pregnant did that. Everything trembled lately. "Fine," she called back. "Just the baby kicking." That was a lie. Grace had been still for the past hour. Becca pressed her palm against her swollen belly. "Come on, little one. Move for mama." Nothing. She picked up the teacup again. The study was cold despite the California sunshine streaming through the windows. Their Malibu mansion always felt cold lately. Marble floors, high ceilings, empty spaces that echoed. Marcus appeared in the doorway, tailored suit, perfect hair, phone in hand like always. "I have to run to the office," Buddy said. "Board meeting moved up." "On Sunday?" "You know how it is." He didn't look at her. He never looked at her anymore. "I left you tea, chamomile, good for the baby." He was already walking away. "Marcus, wait, can we talk about—" "Later, Becca, I'm late." The front door closed. His car engine purred to life. Gone. Becca stared at the tea. Marcus never made her tea. His assistant did that. Sienna. The woman with the perfect smile and the expensive perfume Becca kept smelling on Marcus's shirts. She lifted the cup, took a sip. Bitter. So bitter. But she was tired. So tired, she drank anyway. The cramping started 5 minutes later. Becca doubled over, teacup crashing to the floor. Porcelain shattered. Hot liquid spread across antique wood. The pain was a knife twisting in her gut. "No," she gasped. "No, no, no." Grace, the baby. Something was wrong. She fumbled for her phone, dropped it. Her fingers were numb. When did they go numb? She crawled toward the device. The marble floor was cold against her knees. 911. 911, what's your emergency? "I'm pregnant. 8 months. Something's wrong. The pain, I can't." "Ma'am, what's your address?" Becca tried to speak. The room tilted sideways. Her vision blurred at the edges. "Ma'am, stay with me. What's your address?" She managed to whisper it before everything went dark. The sirens woke her. No, not woke. She'd been awake the whole time, hadn't she? Aware of her body convulsing, aware of the wetness between her legs. Blood or amniotic fluid, she couldn't tell. "Grace," she whispered. "My baby." Strong hands lifted her. Paramedics. 2 of them. A woman with kind eyes and a man with gray hair. "We've got you, honey," the woman said. "I need you to stay calm. Can you do that for me?" Becca tried to nod. Her head felt like concrete. "When did the symptoms start?" the male paramedic asked. 5 minutes. maybe 10, after the tea. What tea? Chamomile. My husband made it. It tasted wrong. The paramedics exchanged a look. The woman touched her wrist, checking her pulse. The man grabbed his radio. We need to transport now, he said. Possible poisoning. Patient is 32 weeks pregnant and symptomatic. Poisoning. The word echoed in Becca's skull as they loaded her onto the stretcher. Poisoning. But that was ridiculous. Marcus wouldn't. He couldn't. Could he? The ambulance lurched into motion. Becca's hand went to her belly. She pressed down gently, counting. 1 kick. Please, Grace. Just 1 kick. Nothing. 2. Come on, baby girl. Still nothing. 3. Lock, unlock, lock. She was doing it again. The counting, the compulsive checking, like checking her phone at 3 in the morning. Lock, unlock, lock, always making sure. I feel movement, the female paramedic said, her hand next to Becca's. Fetal heartbeat is irregular but present. Becca started crying. She couldn't help it. Relief and terror mixed together until she couldn't tell them apart. My husband, she managed. Someone needs to call my husband. Already done, honey. He's meeting us at the hospital. The hospital. Cedars-Sinai, 20 minutes away through Sunday traffic. Becca watched the ceiling of the ambulance. White panels, a small crack near the corner. She focused on that crack. Anything to avoid thinking about the word poisoning. Who would poison a pregnant woman? She knew the answer. She'd known for months. But knowing and accepting were different things. The ambulance stopped. Doors flung open. Fluorescent lights blinded her. A doctor appeared, young and efficient. Rebecca Hayes, 32 years old, 32 weeks pregnant, the paramedic rattled off. Patient reports consuming tea approximately 15 minutes ago. Immediate onset of severe cramping, numbness in extremities, altered consciousness. Get her to labor and delivery, the doctor ordered. I want a full tox screen, blood, urine, everything. They wheeled her through automatic doors. The ceiling tiles passed above her. 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting again, always counting. A nurse bent over her. Older woman, warm hands. Your husband just arrived, she said. Do you want to see him? Did she? Becca opened her mouth to answer, but then she saw him. Marcus, standing in the hallway, phone to his ear. Of course, always on the phone. He met her eyes for just a moment. Something flickered across his face. Was it guilt or relief? The hospital room was too bright, too white, too clean. Becca lay in the bed, monitors beeping steadily around her. An eye dripped clear fluid into her arm. A fetal monitor wrapped around her belly, tracking Grace's heartbeat. Thump, 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 thump. Still alive, still fighting. Mrs. Hayes? A new voice. Male. Authoritative. Becca turned her head. A man in a dark suit stood in the doorway. 50-something, tired eyes. Detective written all over him. I'm Detective James Holloway, he said. I need to ask you some questions. What the? Her throat was raw. I just had a reaction to something. Food poisoning, maybe. Maybe. He stepped inside, closed the door. Or maybe something else. Your paramedics were smart. They saved the teacup fragments. We're running tests now. Tests on her tea. I don't understand, Becca said. But she did. God help her, she did. Where's your husband, Mrs. Hayes? Outside on his phone. He's been on that phone since he arrived. 23 minutes. I counted. So had Becca. She always counted. Detective Holloway pulled a chair close to her bed, sat down heavily. I'm going to be straight with you, he said. The hospital found something in your blood. Something that doesn't belong there. We need to know what you consumed in the last 3 hours. Just the tea and toast for breakfast. That was hours ago. Who made the tea? Becca's hands twisted in the hospital sheets. My husband, but he wouldn't. I'm not accusing anyone, Mrs. Hayes. I'm gathering facts. Does your husband usually make your tea? No, his assistant does, when she visits. His assistant visits your home? Sometimes, to drop off documents, work things. I see. When Detective Holloway wrote something in a small notebook. Does this assistant have access to your house? She has the security code for emergencies. What's her name? Becca swallowed hard. Sienna Crawford. The detective's pen stopped moving. He looked up sharply. Sienna Crawford, mid-20s, works at Hayes Technologies? Yes. Do you know her? We've met. His face gave nothing away. I'm going to need to review your home security footage, Mrs. Hayes, with your permission. Why? Because I'm a suspicious man. And when a pregnant woman gets poisoned by tea her husband made, I want to see who else was in that house. Poisoned. There was that word again. Becca closed her eyes. The monitors beeped. Grace's heartbeat remained steady. Thank God for small mercies. Check the cameras, she whispered. Check everything. Detective Holloway stood. Try to rest, Mrs. Hayes. I'll be back soon. He left. The door whispered shut. Becca was alone with the beeping machines and the terrible knowledge growing in her chest. Marcus wouldn't, but Sienna might. And if Sienna would, then Marcus knew. Had to know. Her husband, the father of her child, the man she'd loved for 5 years, the man who was still outside on his phone while she lay here fighting for their daughter's life. Thump, 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 thump. Grace's heartbeat was the only sound Becca trusted anymore. The lab results came back at 3:30 in the afternoon. Ethylene glycol, antifreeze. Becca stared at the doctor who delivered the news. Dr. Eleanor Shaw, 50-something, steel gray hair, eyes that had seen everything. I don't understand, Becca said. Antifreeze? It's sweet, Dr. Shaw explained gently. Masks easily in tea or juice, but extremely toxic. You're lucky. The paramedics caught it early. We've started treatment. Lucky. That was a word for it. What about the baby? Grace is holding steady, strong heartbeat, no signs of distress currently, but we need to monitor closely. The next 48 hours are critical. 48 hours, 2 days, an eternity. Can I see my husband? Shaw's expression shifted, just slightly. He's speaking with the detective right now. Not he'll be right in, not he's waiting for you. Speaking with the detective. Becca's hands went to her belly. Grace kicked. Finally, a small flutter. Mama's here, baby girl. Mama's not going anywhere. A knock at the door. Claire burst in without waiting for an answer. Becca's best friend since college. Claire Brennan, nurse practitioner, red hair flying, mascara smudged from crying. Oh my God! Claire rushed to the bedside, grabbed Becca's hand, squeezed hard. I came as soon as I heard. What happened? Someone poisoned my tea. The words hung in the air, solid, real, undeniable. Claire's face went white. What? Who would? She stopped. Understanding dawned. Marcus? I don't know. Maybe. The detective is checking the security footage. Security footage. Claire's voice went flat. Becca, honey, I need to tell you something. What? I saw them 2 months ago at that restaurant in Santa Monica. Marcus and some woman. They were... She stopped, started again. They were holding hands. The room tilted. Becca gripped the bed rail. Why didn't you tell me? I tried, remember? I called you that night, asked if everything was okay with Marcus. You said everything was fine. You said you trusted him. Had she said that? Becca couldn't remember. The last few months were a blur of exhaustion and morning sickness, and Marcus working late, always working late. Describe her, Becca said. Blonde, 20-something, beautiful, expensive clothes. Sienna. Of course it was Sienna. I'm so sorry, Claire whispered. I should have pushed harder. I should have... No. Becca's voice came out stronger than she felt. You tried. I didn't want to see it. But she had seen it, all the signs, the late nights, the new cologne, the way he flinched when she touched him, the phone calls he took in another room. She'd seen everything and chosen to ignore it all. God, I was so stupid. The signs were all there. The thought came unbidden. Harsh. True. A commotion in the hallway cut through her spiral. Raised voices, Detective Holloway's bass rumble, Marcus's defensive tenor. I have a right to see my wife. You'll see her after we talk, Mr. Hayes. The door opened. Detective Holloway entered. His face was carved from granite. Mrs. Hayes, I said, I've reviewed your security footage. I need you to look at something. He pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen. Security camera view of her kitchen. Timestamp 11:15 in the morning. 2 hours before Becca drank the tea. The back door opened. A woman entered, blonde hair, black dress, moving with purpose. Sienna Crawford. Becca's breath caught. On screen, Sienna went directly to the cabinet where they kept the tea. She pulled out the chamomile, opened it. Her back was to the camera, blocking the view of her hands. But when she turned, the tea bag was in her hand. And something else. A small vial, clear liquid. She dropped the tea bag into the cup, added the liquid, stirred, left the cup on the counter. Exactly where Becca always made her afternoon tea. Then she left. 12 minutes total, in and out. That's impossible, Becca whispered. She wouldn't. Keep watching. The timestamp jumped forward. 12:45. Marcus entered the kitchen. He saw the cup, picked it up, studied it. He knew it was there. He carried it to Becca's study, set it on her desk, left. No, Becca said. No, he didn't know. He couldn't have. Mrs. Hayes. Detective Holloway's voice was gentle, firm. I'm sorry, but your husband carried poison tea to you. Whether he knew what was in it or not, we need to determine. Claire made a sound, something between a gasp and a sob. Becca stared at the frozen image of Marcus holding the teacup. Her husband, the man who'd proposed on a beach in Maui, the man who'd held her hand during the first ultrasound, the man who'd decorated the nursery with clouds and stars. That man was gone. This man, this stranger on the screen, had carried poison to his pregnant wife. Where is he? Becca asked. In custody. We're holding him for questioning. On what charge? Attempted murder. The words landed like bullets. Attempted murder. Of her. Of Grace. There's more, Detective Holloway said. He tapped the tablet again. Different screen, insurance documents. We found these in your husband's office files. Life insurance policies. On you. We have life insurance. That's normal. $50 million normal? The number didn't compute. 50 million. That was movie money, not real life money. That's impossible. We have a policy for 1 million, standard. You did, until 3 months ago, when your husband took out this new policy, and another one, same amount, same beneficiary, him. Why would he need 2 policies? We're investigating that, but Mrs. Hayes, I need to ask you something. When is your 5th wedding anniversary? November 1st, 3 weeks from now. Why? Detective Holloway's expression darkened. Because both policies have a clause. Your marriage has to last 5 years before they pay out. If you die before November 1st, Marcus gets nothing. After that date, he gets $100 million. The room spun. Becca grabbed Claire's hand. He was going to kill me after our anniversary, she whispered. We believe so, yes. But why now? Why poison me today if he needed to wait? That's what we're trying to determine. Unless, the detective paused, unless someone else was desperate, someone who didn't know about the anniversary requirement. Sienna, the mistress who thought she'd get the money, the woman who made the tea, the woman who was sleeping with Marcus and didn't know he was planning to use her and throw her away. I need to talk to Marcus, Becca said. I can't allow that right now. He's being processed. Then I need to talk to Sienna. She's not answering her phone. We have officers on the way to her apartment. Becca closed her eyes. Antifreeze in her bloodstream. A baby fighting for life inside her. A husband in custody. A mistress on the run. This was her life now. This was what her marriage had become. Mrs. Hayes, Claire's voice, worried. Your blood pressure is spiking. Dr. Shaw rushed in, checked the monitors, frowned. Everyone out, she ordered. Mrs. Hayes needs rest. But, Detective Holloway started, out, now. This woman just learned her husband tried to kill her. She's 8 months pregnant. She needs stability, not more stress. The detective left reluctantly. The door closed. Just Becca, Claire, and Dr. Shaw remained. I'm not crazy, Becca said suddenly. I know what I saw on his phone. The words came from nowhere. From the place where she'd been shoving suspicions for months, late-night texts, deleted messages, the way he angled his screen away from her. You're not crazy, Dr. Shaw said firmly. You're a victim. There's a difference. Victim. Becca hated that word, but it was accurate. She was a victim. Her unborn daughter was a victim. And somewhere in Los Angeles, Sienna Crawford was running. But from what? From the police or from Marcus? The machines beeped steadily. Grace's heartbeat, strong, defiant. Becca pressed her hand to her belly. "We're going to survive this," she whispered. "Both of us." Claire squeezed her other hand. "Damn right you will." But survival wasn't the same as living, and Becca was only starting to understand the difference. They arrested Sienna Crawford at 4:15 that afternoon. Becca learned about it from the television. The hospital room TV was muted, but the closed captions scrolled across the bottom. Mistress of tech millionaire arrested in poisoning case. Rebecca Hayes, 8 months pregnant, fights for life. Not quite accurate, but close enough. The door opened. Marcus's mother swept in. Vivian Hayes, 62 years old, tennis club tan, Chanel suit, disapproval radiating like perfume. Rebecca, no warmth in the greeting, never any warmth. Vivian, this is absurd. Marcus would never hurt you. The security camera says otherwise. Cameras can be manipulated. My son is innocent. Becca had heard this song before. 5 years of it. Marcus was perfect. Marcus could do no wrong. Rebecca was never good enough. Not rich enough, not connected enough, not worthy of the Hayes name. Your son carried poison tea to his pregnant wife, Becca said. The voice flat, empty. The police have evidence. Circumstantial evidence. He didn't know what was in that cup. Then why did Sienna have access to our house? Why did she make tea in our kitchen? Why didn't Marcus question any of it? Vivian's perfectly made-up face cracked. Just a little. You're stressed. The pregnancy hormones. Don't. The word came out sharp, hard. Don't you dare blame this on hormones. Don't blame it on stress. Your son was having an affair. His mistress tried to kill me. Those are facts. My son would never have an affair. The denial was almost funny. Almost. How long have you known? Becca asked. About Sienna? Vivian's silence was answer enough. Months? Becca pressed. Since the beginning? Did everyone know except me? I didn't know what to say, how to tell you. You could have started with this truth. Vivian sank into the visitor's chair. Suddenly looked every one of her 62 years. I saw them at lunch once, she admitted. 3 months ago. Marcus said she was just an employee. I believed him. Or I wanted to believe him. He's my son. And I'm your daughter-in-law, carrying your grandchild. But you chose him. He's my blood. So is this baby. The words hung between them. Heavy, irrefutable. Vivian stood, smoothed her skirt. I should go. Marcus needs his lawyer. Marcus is exactly where he should be. The older woman paused at the door. You'll forgive him. Eventually. Women like us always do. No, Becca said quietly. I won't. Because I'm not you. Vivian left without another word. Claire returned minutes later with coffee. Hospital coffee. Terrible. Becca drank it anyway. That looked intense, Claire said. She knew about Sienna. Everyone knew. Becca, don't tell me you didn't know too. You saw them 2 months ago. How long had it been going on before that? Claire set down her coffee cup. Honestly, I don't know. But there were rumors. At his company holiday party last year. The way they danced. The way he looked at her. Last year, before Becca got pregnant. Before everything changed. Or maybe everything had already changed. And Becca just didn't see it. She thought back, trying to remember. When had Marcus stopped touching her? When had he started working late? When had their marriage become this hollow shell? The memory came unbidden. Their wedding, 5 years ago next month. Becca in a white dress, Marcus in a tux. His vows, I promise to love you, cherish you, protect you forever. Lies, old lies, but she hadn't known then. She'd been so happy, so naive. Another memory, 2 years ago, Marcus's promotion to CEO, champagne celebration. We're going to build an empire together, Becca, you and me. But there was no together. There was Marcus working, Marcus traveling, Marcus at the office until 10 every night. Becca had told herself it was temporary. The demands of success, The price of ambition. She'd been so stupid 6 months ago, finding out she was pregnant, her joy, his strange expression, not happiness exactly. Something else. Relief, no, calculation. She'd seen it and dismissed it. But now, looking back, it was clear as glass. He'd started planning then, maybe earlier. How long had he been working toward this? Toward her death? Becca? Claire's voice cut through the spiral. You're shaking. She was, her whole body trembling. I need to know when it started, Becca said. The affair, the planning, all of it. Why? Will that change anything? No, but I need to understand. I need to know if any of it was real. Any of what? My marriage, the last 5 years. Was I ever anything more than... She stopped, started again. Was I ever more than a placeholder? A convenient wife until he found something better? Honey, that's not... It is. Don't lie to protect my feelings. Marcus married me because I was appropriate. Right age, right background, right look. I made him seem stable, responsible, family man. That's not true. But it was. Becca could see it now. All the times Marcus showed her off to investors, to board members, to his parents' friends. Look at my beautiful wife. Look at my perfect life. She'd been a prop, an accessory, and now she was an obstacle. The television flickered. News footage of Sienna being led out of her apartment in handcuffs, 28 years old, blonde, beautiful, crying. Becca studied her rival, because that's what Sienna was, the other woman, the mistress, the woman Marcus chose over his pregnant wife. What had he promised her? Marriage, money, love? Probably all three, and Sienna had believed him, just like Becca once believed him. Two women destroyed by the same man. I deserve better than this, Becca said suddenly. Claire looked up sharply. What? I deserved better. I deserved honesty, fidelity, respect, basic human decency. Yes, you did. I thought I had to earn it by being a good wife, by not complaining when he worked late, by being understanding and supportive and perfect. Becca, Bishop. But I was enough all along. He was the one who wasn't enough. He was the one who failed, not me. The words felt revolutionary. True? She'd spent 5 years trying to be worthy of Marcus Hayes, trying to measure up to his expectations, his mother's expectations, society's expectations. But she'd been measuring herself against the wrong standard. Marcus was the failure. Marcus was the liar. Marcus was the man who tried to murder his pregnant wife for money. Not her. Never her. Grace kicked, Becca said softly. Claire smiled. That's a good sign. It's a great sign. It means we're fighters. Both of us. The door opened again. Detective Holloway, grim expression. Mrs. Hayes, we've charged Sienna Crawford with attempted murder. She's lawyered up, not talking. And Marcus? Being held as an accessory, the DA is deciding on formal charges. What about the insurance policies? Can you prove Marcus knew about the poisoning? We're working on it. His computer, his phone, all being analyzed. But Mrs. Hayes, there's something else. The detective's tone sent ice through her veins. What? We found a second set of insurance policies. Same structure, same payout, but the beneficiary isn't Marcus. Then who? Sienna Crawford. If both you and Marcus die within 6 months of each other, she gets everything. The room spun. She was planning to kill us both, Becca whispered. It appears so. The question is whether Marcus knew about her plans. He knew. Becca's voice was dead certain. He knew everything. He's not a victim. He's a co-conspirator. We need proof. Then find it. Check everything, every email, every text, every phone call. He's guilty, Detective. I know he is. Detective Holloway nodded slowly. We're on it, Mrs. Hayes. In the meantime, you're safe here. We have officers posted. He left. The door closed. Becca sat in the hospital bed, monitors beeping, baby kicking, life in ruins around her. But she wasn't crying. She was angry. And anger was so much better than grief. The financial records arrived the next morning. Brad Sutton, Becca's lawyer, spread them across the hospital tray table. 48 years old, silver hair, expensive suit, an expression that said he'd seen this movie before. Your husband is broke, Brad said without preamble. That's impossible. Hayes Technologies is worth millions. Was worth millions, past tense. The company is hemorrhaging money, bad investments, failed products, investor lawsuits. Marcus has been covering losses with new investments, classic Ponzi scheme structure. Becca stared at the numbers, red ink everywhere. How much does he owe? 40 million, give or take, $40 million, nearly the exact amount of one insurance policy. The other 50 million would have been profit, Becca said slowly. Enough to start over. Somewhere new, with someone new. That's our theory, yes. But if the company is failing, why didn't he tell me? Brad looked at her with something like pity. Mrs. Hayes, when did your husband last discuss finances with you? She thought back. Months? No. Years. Marcus handled the money, always had. He said she didn't need to worry about it. Control, that's what it was. Financial control. I don't know what we have, Becca admitted. I don't know what's in our accounts, what assets we own. Nothing. Then let me enlighten you. Joint checking account, $12,000. Savings, $23,000. Investment portfolio, liquidated 3 months ago. Home equity, negative. The Malibu house is mortgaged to the ceiling. How is that possible? Marcus said we were financially secure. Your husband lied. About many things, it seems. The truth settled over her like a weighted blanket. Marcus had been planning this for months, maybe longer, destroying their finances, taking out insurance, grooming his mistress. All while Becca rubbed her swollen ankles and dreamed about their daughter's future. What about the prenuptial agreement? She asked. Brad's expression shifted. Interesting question. You signed a prenup, yes, but it has a sunset clause. What's that? After 5 years of marriage and the birth of a child, the prenup becomes void. You become entitled to 60% of all marital assets. 5 years, the anniversary that was 3 weeks away. He had to kill me before then, Becca whispered. Legally speaking, that's the optimal timeline, yes. Optimal timeline for murder. What a phrase. So, if I survive until our anniversary, I get 60% of nothing? Not quite nothing. There are assets Marcus can't touch. Your personal inheritance, the trust fund your grandmother left you. Becca had forgotten about that. $50,000, locked away since she was 21. She'd never needed it, never thought about it. Now it might be all she had. Can Marcus access that money? Not while you're alive, but if you die before November 1st, it reverts to your estate, which he inherits as your spouse. And after November 1st, you inherit 60% of marital assets. He inherits 40%, but with the company in bankruptcy, there's nothing to inherit except your trust fund, which you control completely. Becca started laughing, couldn't help it. Hysterical laughter that made the nurses glance in nervously. He's going to lose everything, she gasped. Even if I die now, the insurance won't pay out before the anniversary, and after the anniversary, I own most of it anyway. He planned all this, and he's going to lose everything. That's correct. Good. The laughter died. I hope he rots in prison with nothing. Brad closed his folder. There's one more thing. I've been reviewing your medical records from the past 3 months, with your permission. Miss Wai? Because attempted murder usually has a practice run. May I? Becca nodded. Brad pulled out another file. Medical bills, doctor visits, ER trips. June 15th, you came to the emergency room with severe stomach pain. Diagnosis, food poisoning. I remember bad sushi, we thought. July 20th, same thing. Stomach pain, vomiting, dizziness. The flu. Everyone at Marcus's office had it. August 10th, August 23rd, September 5th, all similar symptoms, all dismissed as pregnancy complications or minor illnesses. Becca's stomach dropped. He was poisoning me the whole time. Slowly, small doses, building up to the final attempt. We're going to need to test your vitamin bottles, your supplements, anything you consume regularly. He gave me prenatal vitamins every morning, told me the doctor recommended that specific brand. We'll test those first. Becca pressed her hands to her belly. Grace kicked. Strong, defiant. He was poisoning his own daughter too. Unintentionally, yes, but the result is the same. The door burst open, Detective Holloway moving fast. We found something, he said. Marcus's computer. Deleted browser history. We recovered it. He held out his phone. Search history from 3 months ago. How to poison someone without detection. Ethylene glycol symptoms. Antifreeze in food. How long until life insurance pays out. Countries without extradition. On and on, a roadmap of murder. He planned everything, Becca said, down to the last detail. But Mrs. Hayes, there's more. We found text messages between Marcus and Sienna, deleted but recoverable. He scrolled to a conversation from 6 weeks ago. Marcus. She's getting suspicious, asking about my late nights. Sienna. So end it. Leave her. Marcus. Can't. Not yet. November 1st. Then it's done. Sienna. That's 3 months away. I'm tired of waiting. Marcus. Trust me. The payout is worth it. Sienna. What payout? No response from Marcus. Next text from Sienna came 2 days later. Sienna. You didn't tell me about the insurance, Marcus. It's complicated. Sienna. $100 million isn't complicated. It's a fortune. Marcus. We have to be smart. Patient. Sienna. I'm done being patient. I'll handle it myself. That text was dated 3 days ago, before the poisoning. She went rogue, Detective Holloway said. Marcus was trying to wait until after your anniversary, make it look natural, but Sienna got impatient. And now they're both going to prison. If we can prove conspiracy, yes. That's not proof enough, Becca pointed at the phone. It's evidence, good evidence. But Marcus's lawyer will argue he didn't order the poisoning. That Sienna acted alone. We need more. Then find more. We're trying. In the meantime, you're still in danger. From who? They're both in custody. Marcus's business partner, Daniel Torres. We're looking at him now. He knew about the company's financial problems. He may have been involved. Another conspirator. Another person who wanted her dead. How many people had Marcus told about his plans? How many knew and said nothing? I want to see him, Becca said suddenly. Who? Torres? Marcus, my husband. I want to see him face to face. That's not a good idea, Mrs. Hayes. I don't care. He owes me answers. He owes me the truth. He won't talk to you without his lawyer present. Fine, bring the lawyer. Bring 10 lawyers. I don't care. I need to see him. Detective Holloway and Brad exchanged glances. It could be dangerous, Brad warned. Emotionally dangerous. My husband tried to poison me. I'm 8 months pregnant and fighting for my baby's life. How much more emotionally dangerous can it get? No one had an answer for that. I'll arrange it, Detective Holloway said finally. But it has to be at the jail. Through glass, no physical contact. Agreed. The detective left. Brad gathered his files. Are you sure about this, he asked. No, but I need to look him in the eye. I need to hear him try to explain, to justify it, and to lie to my face one more time. Wimma. Because somewhere along the way I became invisible. To him, to everyone. But I'm not invisible. I'm right here and he's going to have to see me. Really see me before they lock him away forever. Brad nodded slowly. Then I'll be there with you. Thank you. He left. Claire returned with lunch, hospital food. Becca picked at it without appetite. You heard? Becca asked. About seeing Marcus? Yeah. Are you really going to do it? I have to. Why torture yourself? It's not torture. It's closure. I need him to know that I know. Everything. Claire sat on the edge of the bed. Okay, then I'm coming too. You don't have to. Yes, I do. You're my best friend, and I never liked him anyway. Becca smiled despite everything. Liar. You thought he was charming at our wedding. I thought he was charming for about 15 minutes. Then I saw how he talked to the waitstaff, how he dismissed your opinions, how he introduced you as my wife instead of by name. Red flags everywhere. Why didn't you say something? I tried. Remember the bachelorette party? I asked if you were sure. You said you'd never been more certain about anything. Becca did remember. She'd been so confident, so in love, so wrong. I was being gaslit the whole time, she said softly. He'd tell me I was imagining things, being paranoid, hormonal, and I believed him because I wanted to believe him, because the alternative was too terrible. That's what gaslighting is. It makes you doubt your own reality. Well, I'm done doubting. I know what I saw. I know what he did, and I'm going to make sure he knows that I know. Grace kicked, hard, like punctuation. Your daughter agrees, Claire said. Of course she does. She's a fighter, like her mother. Starting over feels impossible, but staying feels worse. The thought rose unbidden, but it was true. Staying in this marriage, in this life, in this lie, that was impossible now. Starting over was terrifying, but at least it was real. At least it was hers. The Los Angeles County Jail smelled like disinfectant and despair. Becca sat in the visiting room, Detective Holloway on her left, Brad on her right, Claire standing behind her like a guardian angel. The chair was hard plastic, uncomfortable. Her back ached. Grace was pressing on her sciatic nerve, but she didn't move, didn't complain, just waited. The door on the other side of the glass opened. Marcus shuffled in, orange jumpsuit, handcuffs, stubble on his jaw. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. He picked up the phone. She picked up hers. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Becca, his voice was hoarse. Thank God, I've been so worried. The lie was so smooth, so practiced. If she hadn't known better, she might have believed him. Worried, she repeated flatly. About you, about the baby. Are you okay? Is Grace? Don't. The word cracked like a whip. Don't you dare ask about our daughter. You tried to kill her. I didn't know. Yes, you did. I saw the search history, Marcus. How to poison someone without detection. 3 months ago, you knew exactly what you were doing. His expression shifted. The concern melted away. Something else took its place, something cold. That was research for a novel. You don't write novels. I was thinking about starting. Liar. He leaned back, crossed his arms as much as the handcuffs allowed. This is ridiculous. I'm being framed. Sienna did this on her own. I had nothing to do with it. You carried the poisoned tea to my study. I didn't know it was poisoned. Then why did you make me tea in the first place? You never make me tea. He hesitated, just a fraction of a second, but she saw it. But she. I was trying to be helpful. You've been stressed. Because you were poisoning me for months. My vitamins, Marcus, the ones you insisted I take every day. That's insane. The lab tested them. Ethylene glycol, small amounts, enough to make me sick, enough to weaken me, enough to make one large dose fatal. Marcus's lawyer leaned in, whispered something. Marcus shook his head. I don't have to listen to this, he said. You're upset, hormonal, not thinking clearly. There it was, the gaslighting, the dismissal, the same pattern he'd used for 5 years. But this time she didn't bend. I'm thinking perfectly clearly, Becca said. Clearer than I have in years. You were having an affair with Sienna. You took out insurance policies on my life. You planned to kill me after our anniversary. You got impatient, or Sienna got impatient, and you tried to do it early. You can't prove any of that. The police already have. Text messages, computer searches, financial records. It's over, Marcus. He stared at her, really looked at her, and she saw the moment he realized she wasn't going to break, wasn't going to cry, wasn't going to beg him to say it wasn't true. His face hardened. Fine, he said. You want the truth? Here it is. Our marriage was a mistake. You were a mistake. I needed a wife to look good for investors, to seem stable, responsible. You fit the bill. Each word was a knife, but Becca didn't flinch. Go on, she said. Then you got pregnant. I told you I wasn't ready for kids, but you didn't listen. You never listen. So I had to adapt, change my plans. By killing me. By solving a problem. The company was failing. I needed capital. The insurance policies made sense. So you decided I was worth more dead than alive. Essentially, yes. Behind her, Claire gasped. Brad put a hand on Becca's shoulder, but Becca just nodded. Thank you, she said. Marcus blinked. What? Thank you for finally being honest. For admitting what you did. Your lawyer must be having a heart attack right now. The lawyer was indeed frantically waving at Marcus to stop talking. Marcus ignored him. You were never enough, Becca. Never smart enough. Never interesting enough. Never ambitious enough. You were just there, present, convenient. I know, Becca said quietly. I know I wasn't enough for you. But here's what I finally understand. I didn't need to be, because you were never enough for me. That stopped him. You're a liar, she continued. A cheat. A would-be murderer. You're pathetic. And I wasted 5 years of my life trying to earn love from a man who was never capable of giving it. You're nothing without me. I'm everything without you. I'm free, and I'm going to raise our daughter to be strong and smart and nothing like you. Marcus's face twisted. You'll never make it on your own. No money, no prospects, a single mother with a bastard kid. Grace isn't a bastard. We're married, remember? Not for long. I want a divorce. Good, so do I. My lawyer has papers ready. You'll get nothing in the divorce. The prenup is void after November 1st, which is 2 weeks away. I'll wait. Then I'll own 60% of your bankrupt company. Your mortgaged house, your failed dreams, all of it. She saw the realization hit him. He'd planned so carefully, but he'd miscalculated. Poisoning her before the anniversary meant no insurance payout. After the anniversary meant she owned most of the assets. He'd destroyed himself. You planned this, he said slowly. No, you planned this. I'm just surviving it. I could have given you everything. A life of luxury, status, power. You gave me nothing but lies, and now you're giving me freedom. She stood. The conversation was over. Wait, his voice cracked. Becca, please. I'm sorry, I made mistakes. But we can fix this, for Grace, for our family. We don't have a family. We never did, or did. You saw to that. I love you. The words hung in the air, hollow, empty, meaningless. No, Becca said, you don't. You never did, and that's okay. Because I don't love you either. Not anymore. Maybe I never really did. Maybe I just loved the idea of you. The fantasy, but the real you? The man behind the mask? He's a stranger, and I'm done wasting my time on strangers. She hung up the phone, walked away, didn't look back. Behind the glass, Marcus was shouting something. She couldn't hear it, didn't care. Detective Holloway caught up with her in the hallway. That was brave, he said. That was necessary. He confessed. We recorded everything. His lawyer's going to kill him. His lawyer should have stopped him from talking. Narcissists can't help themselves. They have to defend themselves, explain, justify. Well, he just justified a conviction. They walked to the parking lot. Brad's car was waiting. What happens now? Claire asked. Now we wait for the trial. Build the case. Document everything. How long will that take? Months, maybe a year. A year. Becca would have a 1-year-old daughter by then. A whole new life. She climbed into the car. Grace kicked. Hard. I know, baby girl, Becca whispered. I know. We're going to be okay. Better than okay. We're going to be free. The car pulled out of the parking lot. Becca watched the jail receipt in the mirror. Marcus was in there, probably still shouting, still trying to control the narrative, still believing he was the victim. Let him believe it. The truth was recorded, documented, undeniable. And the truth was this. Marcus Hayes tried to murder his pregnant wife for money, and Rebecca Hayes survived. 3 days later, at 2 in the morning, everything went wrong. Becca woke to wetness, amniotic fluid soaking the hospital sheets. Grace's heartbeat spiking on the monitors. Alarms blaring. Dr. Shaw rushed in, checked her, face grim. We need to induce labor, she said, now. It's too early. I'm only 32 weeks. The baby is in distress. The poisoning compromised your placenta. If we wait, we could lose her. Lose her. The words echoed in Becca's skull as they prepped her for delivery. E-lines, monitors, nurses moving with controlled urgency. Claire held her hand. You can do this. I'm not ready. You're the readiest person I know. But she wasn't. How could she be? Nothing in her life had prepared her for this, for giving birth alone, for raising a child alone, for building a life from ashes. The contractions started, artificial, induced by medication, but they felt real enough. Pain ripping through her abdomen, stealing her breath. Breathe, Claire coached. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Becca tried, failed. The pain was too much. And it wasn't just physical pain. It was everything. 5 years of marriage crumbling, trust shattered, future uncertain. I can't do this, she gasped between contractions. Yes, you can. I'm not strong enough. You survived poisoning. You confronted your murderer husband. You walked away from everything you knew. You're the strongest person I've ever met. I'm terrified. That's okay. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. Another contraction. Harder. Longer. Becca screamed. That's it, Dr. Shaw said. You're dilating. We're almost there. Almost where? Almost to single motherhood? Almost to poverty? Almost to a future she never planned? The hours blurred, pain and fear and exhaustion mixing into one endless nightmare. Nurses came and went, shift change, morning light creeping through the windows. And through it all, Grace's heartbeat, steady, strong, fighting. She's a fighter, Dr. Shaw said, just like her mother. I'm not a fighter, I'm just surviving. That's what fighting is. One breath at a time, one moment at a time, keep going. So Becca kept going, through the pain, through the fear, through the darkest moments when she wanted to give up. At 4:37 in the afternoon, 22 hours after labor started, Grace Eleanor Hayes was born. 5 pounds, 3 ounces, 17 inches long, tiny, perfect, screaming. They placed her on Becca's chest, skin to skin, warmth against warmth, life against life. And Becca broke. All the strength she'd been holding onto crumbled. She sobbed, ugly crying, nose running, body shaking. I'm sorry, she whispered to her daughter. I'm so sorry. Your father is a monster. You're going to grow up without him. Without money. Without the life you should have had. I'm so sorry. But Grace just nestled closer, little fingers curling, little mouth rooting for food. She doesn't care about money, Claire said softly. She only cares about you. What if I'm not enough? You're everything. Dr. Shaw checked Grace's vitals. Nodded in satisfaction. Perfect APGAR scores. Strong lungs. Good color. She's a miracle. A miracle born from attempted murder. A life that shouldn't exist, but did. Because Becca survived. Because the paramedics were smart. Because security cameras caught the truth. Because of 1,000 small things that went right when everything went wrong. Grace latched on and started nursing. Instinct, pure and simple. She knew what to do, who to trust, where she belonged. Becca watched her daughter, this tiny person who depended on her for everything, food, warmth, protection, love. How do I protect you from a world where your own father wanted us dead? The thought came unbidden. Terrible. True. One day at a time, Claire said, reading her mind. You don't have to figure out everything right now. Just focus on today. This moment. This perfect little girl. This perfect little girl who would grow up knowing her father was in prison, who would ask questions Becca didn't want to answer, who would carry this tragedy with her forever. The door opened. Detective Holloway. Flowers in hand, expression soft. I heard congratulations were in order, he said. Thank you. He set the flowers on the windowsill, pulled up a chair. She's beautiful. She's everything. I wanted to update you. Sienna Crawford took a plea deal. 12 years. She's testifying against Marcus. What's she saying? Everything. The affair, the planning, the insurance policies. She claims Marcus manipulated her, promised her marriage, a future, love. Did he? Probably. Men like Marcus Hayes are experts at manipulation. They tell everyone what they want to hear, and somehow they convince themselves they're the victim. What about the business partner? Torres? He's cooperating too. Says Marcus approached him about faking your death, making it look like an accident. Torres refused. wanted no part of it. But he didn't report it. No, he didn't. That's a crime in itself. He's looking at conspiracy charges. So many people knew. So many people could have stopped this, but they chose silence. Complicity, self-preservation. When's the trial, Becca asked. 6 months, maybe sooner if we can fast-track it. 6 months. Grace would be 6 months old, sitting up, laughing, discovering the world, and Becca would be testifying against her husband in a murder trial. What a life. Try to rest, Detective Holloway said. You've earned it. He left. The room fell quiet. Just Becca and Grace and the beeping monitors and the weight of everything that had happened. Becca looked down at her daughter. So small, so fragile, so impossibly alive. I'm going to tell you a story, she whispered, about a woman who loved the wrong man, who trusted when she shouldn't have, who almost died because of it. Grace's eyes fluttered. Blue. Marcus's eyes. Becca's heart clenched. But she survived, and she learned something important. She learned that the prison door had been unlocked all along. Fear kept her there. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of admitting she'd made a mistake. Claire's hand touched her shoulder. Becca. But when her daughter was born, when she held this tiny perfect person, she realized something. She'd been her own warden, and she could free herself anytime she wanted. That's beautiful, Claire said. That's survival. Becca kissed Grace's head, breathed in that newborn smell. Life, hope, future. The hardest part is admitting I knew all along. She had known, deep down, all those late nights, all those leaves, all those moments when Marcus looked at her like a problem to solve instead of a person to love. She'd known, and she'd stayed anyway. But that was over now. The woman who stayed, she was gone, dead as the marriage, dead as the fantasy. This woman, this mother, this survivor, she was new, reborn, dangerous, because she had nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. Vivian Hayes arrived 6 weeks later with a lawyer and a confession. Becca was home by then, not the Malibu mansion that had been seized by creditors, but a small apartment in Santa Monica. 2 bedrooms, ocean view if you leaned out the window far enough. Rent paid by her grandmother's trust fund. It was tiny, humble, perfect. Grace slept in a bassinet next to Becca's bed, 6 weeks old, gaining weight, thriving, despite everything. The knock came at 9 in the morning. Becca answered in sweatpants and a milk-stained shirt. No makeup, hadn't slept more than 2 hours straight in days. Vivian stood in the hallway, Chanel suit replaced with simple black. Face drawn, she looked sick. "May I come in?" she asked. Becca almost said no, almost slammed the door, but something in Vivian's expression stopped her. Defeat. That's what it was. Complete and utter defeat. 5 minutes, Becca said. Vivian entered, looked around the small apartment. Her expression didn't change. No judgment, no disdain, just weariness. "I'm dying," she said without preamble. Becca blinked. "What?" "Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. 3 months ago, the doctors gave me 6 months. I have maybe 3 left." "I'm sorry." "Don't be, I deserve worse." Vivian sat heavily on the couch. "I came to tell you the truth about Marcus, about everything." Grace stirred in the bassinet. Becca lifted her out, held her close, armor against whatever was coming. "Marcus isn't my biological son," Vivian said. Of all the things Becca expected, that wasn't one of them. "What?" "We adopted him when he was 8. My husband and I tried for years to have children. Failed. So we adopted." "I didn't know that." "No one did. We kept it quiet. Marcus wanted it that way. He was embarrassed by his origins." "What origins?" Vivian pulled out a folder. Old documents, faded photographs, juvenile court records. His birth name was Marcus Bellamy. Mother was a drug addict. Father unknown. He was in 6 foster homes before age 7. Each placement ended badly. How badly? Animals dying, other children injured. Fires. The social workers suspected abuse, but they could never prove Marcus was the cause. Becca's blood ran cold. "You adopted a child who hurt animals?" "We didn't know. The agency didn't tell us. They just said he had behavioral challenges. We thought we could help him, give him stability, love, a good home. And he was charming. Even at 8 years old, he knew exactly what to say, how to act. He made us believe he was grateful, changed. But looking back, Vivian stopped, swallowed hard. Looking back, I think he was practicing, learning how to manipulate, how to get what he wanted. Why are you telling me this? Because I enabled him. Every time someone complained about Marcus's behavior, I made excuses. When his high school girlfriend accused him of pushing her downstairs, I paid her family to stay quiet. When his college roommate went missing, I hired lawyers to make sure the investigation didn't touch Marcus. His roommate went missing? They found him 3 weeks later, in the woods. He'd gotten lost hiking, but I always wondered. Marcus had scratches on his hands. He said they were from basketball. I believed him because I wanted to. Becca sat down slowly. Grace fussed. She rocked her automatically. You knew he was dangerous. I suspected, but he was my son. I loved him. I thought I could control him, guide him, make him into something better than what he was. You couldn't. No, and now he's in jail for trying to murder you, and I can't pretend anymore. Can't make excuses, can't protect him. Why now? Why tell me this now? Vivian met her eyes. Because I'm dying, and I don't want to die knowing I let him destroy your life, destroy my granddaughter's life. I need to make this right. How? The damage is done. With this. Vivian pulled out another document, a notarized statement, my testimony, everything I know about Marcus, every incident I covered up, every warning sign I ignored. It's all here for the trial. Becca took the document, read it, page after page of Marcus's history, violence, manipulation, fraud. His defense attorney will say you're lying because you're bitter. Let them. I have proof, records, photographs, names of people he hurt. I kept everything. Just in case, I told myself I was protecting him, but really I was documenting his crimes. This will destroy him. Good, he deserves it. And you deserve justice. Grace started crying, hungry. Becca excused herself, went to the bedroom to nurse. When she returned, Vivian was still there, staring at her hands. I also came to give you this. She pulled out a checkbook, wrote something, tore out the check, handed it to Becca, $1 million. I can't accept this, Becca said. It's not charity, it's restitution. For the years you wasted on my son, for the trauma, for the medical bills, for Grace's future. Your family will contest it. I have no other family. Marcus is my only heir, and I'm disinheriting him. This money goes to you and Grace, along with the family estate in Connecticut, the trust funds, everything. Becca stared at the check. Life-changing money, security, options, freedom. Why? She whispered. Because I failed you. I saw who Marcus was, and I stayed silent. I chose my love for him over your safety. That's unforgivable. This doesn't erase it. But maybe it helps. I don't know what to say. Say you'll use it well. Say you'll give Grace the life she deserves. Say you'll forget the Hayes name and build something new, something better. Becca looked at her daughter, nursing peacefully, unaware of the money, the confession, the future shifting around her. I'll use it well, Becca promised. Vivian stood, moved like a woman in pain, which she was. I know you can't forgive me, she said. I don't expect it, but I hope someday you'll tell Grace that her grandmother tried, at the end, to do the right thing. I will. Vivian moved to the door, paused, looked back at Grace. She has your eyes, she said softly. Thank God. Let that be the only thing she inherits from this family. Then she was gone. Becca sat in the silence, check in one hand, baby in the other, mind reeling, $1 million, an estate in Connecticut, testimony that would convict Marcus forever, and maybe, just maybe, a chance at real justice. The trial began on a cold January morning. Grace was 5 months old, sitting up, laughing, discovering her hands. Becca left her with Claire and walked into the courthouse alone. Not alone, Brad was there. Detective Holloway, victim advocates, court officers. But it felt alone anyway. The courtroom was packed. Media, spectators, Marcus's former friends and colleagues. They'd all come to watch the fall of Marcus Hayes. Becca sat in the front row, directly behind the prosecutor's table, close enough to see Marcus when they brought him in. He looked different, thinner, hair longer, orange jumpsuit replaced with a suit, but still handcuffed, still defeated. Their eyes met, just for a moment. He looked away first. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The formalities began. Jury selection had taken weeks. Now the actual trial. The truth. The reckoning. The prosecutor stood. Janet Chen, 45. Sharp, brilliant. She'd won 90% of her cases. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," she began, "this is a simple case. A man wanted money. His wife stood in the way, so he decided to kill her. He researched poisons. He took out insurance policies. He enlisted his mistress to do the actual poisoning. And he would have succeeded if not for smart paramedics and security cameras." She clicked a remote. The video played, Sienna entering the kitchen, adding liquid to the teacup, leaving. Marcus carrying the cup to Becca's study. "You'll see this video multiple times during this trial," Chen continued. "You'll hear from the paramedics who saved Rebecca Hayes' life, from the doctors who treated her, from the detective who investigated, from the forensic accountant who traced the money, from Sienna Crawford herself, who will testify that Marcus Hayes planned everything, and you'll hear from Rebecca Hayes, the woman who survived." She paused, let the weight of it settle. Murder for hire, attempted murder, conspiracy, insurance fraud. The defendant is guilty of all of it, and by the end of this trial, you'll know it beyond any reasonable doubt. She sat down. Marcus's attorney stood. Gerald Brennan, 60, expensive, slick. "The prosecution wants you to believe a simple story," he said, "but the truth is never simple. Yes, Marcus Hayes had an affair. Yes, he made mistakes, but he did not try to kill his wife. Sienna Crawford acted alone, out of jealousy, out of obsession. She poisoned Rebecca Hayes without Marcus's knowledge, and now she's trying to reduce her sentence by blaming him. He was good, Becca had to admit it, reasonable, sympathetic, almost convincing. But then the evidence started. The computer searches, the text messages, the insurance policies, the financial records, the medical reports showing months of slow poisoning. Piece by piece, Chen built an airtight case. On day 3, Sienna Crawford testified. She looked different too. Prison had changed her. No makeup, hair pulled back, scared. "Miss Crawford," Chen said, "did you poison Rebecca Hayes?" "Yes," barely a whisper. "Why?" "Because Marcus told me to." "Objection!" Brennan leaped up. "Hearsay!" "Not hearsay if it goes to state of mind, Your Honor." "Overruled. Continue." "What exactly did Marcus tell you?" Chen asked. Sienna took a shaky breath. "He said his wife was standing between us, that she'd never agree to a divorce, that the only way we could be together was if she was gone. He researched poisons, told me antifreeze was undetectable, gave me keys to the house, told me when she'd be alone. Did you love him?" "I thought I did. Now I realize he was using me. I was just a tool, disposable." "Like Rebecca was disposable?" "Objection." Sustained, rephrase. "Did Marcus ever express concern for his wife's well-being?" "No, he talked about her like a problem to solve, an obstacle. He said the insurance money would let us start over, somewhere new. We'd be rich, free, together." "And you believed him?" "I wanted to believe him. I was 28, stupid, in love. He was my boss, powerful, charming. I thought I was special, but I was just convenient. Like Becca had been convenient. 2 women, 2 victims, 1 monster." On day 5, Becca testified, she wore a navy suit, hair pulled back, minimal jewelry, Grace's heartbeat monitor readout in her pocket like a talisman. Chen asked her to describe the day she was poisoned. Becca did, calmly, clearly, the bitter tea, the cramping, the ambulance. "Did you suspect your husband was having an affair?" Chen asked. "Yes." "Why didn't you confront him?" "I tried. He told me I was imagining things. being paranoid, hormonal. He made me doubt my own reality. That's called gaslighting, isn't it? Objection. Leading. Withdrawn. Mrs. Hayes, how did you feel when you learned Marcus had taken out insurance policies on your life? Betrayed, terrified, confused? I kept thinking there had to be an explanation. Some mistake. Because the alternative, that my husband wanted me dead, was too terrible to accept. Do you accept it now? Yes, I accept it. He tried to kill me. He tried to kill our daughter for money because we were inconvenient, because he found someone younger and more exciting, because he's a narcissist who sees people as objects. And when an object stops being useful, you throw it away. Objection. Speculation about mental state. Your Honor, Mrs. Hayes is describing her lived experience. Overruled. Continue. Chen pulled out a photo. Grace, 2 days old, tiny in her hospital bassinet. Is this your daughter? Yes, Grace Eleanor Hayes. Does Marcus ask about her, want to see her? No, he's never asked, not once in 5 months. Not even after she was born? He asked if she was healthy, not because he cared, but because an unhealthy child would complicate his legal defense. Becca's voice broke. Just slightly, she steadied herself. His own daughter, and he thinks of her as a complication. The jury was rapt, several members wiping their eyes. Then came cross-examination. Brennan stood, tried to make Becca seem bitter, vengeful, unreliable. Isn't it true you wanted Marcus's money? I wanted my husband, the man I thought I married. That man doesn't exist. You're living in a nice apartment, spending money from my grandmother's trust fund, money Marcus couldn't touch, money I'd forgotten about until I needed it to survive. You received $1 million from Vivian Hayes. After your client tried to kill me, yes. Convenient timing. Convenient? Becca's anger flared. My mother-in-law is dying of cancer. She gave me money because she feels guilty that she raised a monster. There's nothing convenient about any of this. Objection! Inflammatory language. Mrs. Hayes, please, the judge started. He poisoned me. Becca turned to the jury. 4 months, while I was pregnant, while I rubbed my belly and talked to our daughter and dreamed about our future. He was researching how to kill me. That's not inflammatory language. That's fact. The courtroom went silent. Brennan tried a few more questions, but the damage was done. Becca's authenticity was undeniable. On day 8, Vivian's recorded testimony played. She'd died 2 weeks before the trial. But her words lived on. Marcus showed warning signs from childhood. The jury heard everything. The foster care history, the animal deaths, the covered-up incidents, the pattern of manipulation. Marcus sat still, face blank. But Becca saw his hands clenching, unclenching, trapped. Closing arguments came on day 9. Chen was masterful. The defendant researched poisons, took out insurance policies, manipulated his mistress, carried poisoned tea to his pregnant wife. This isn't complicated. This is attempted murder. First degree, premeditated, cold-blooded, and you must hold him accountable. Brennan tried. Sienna Crawford acted alone. My client made mistakes, but mistakes aren't crimes. You must acquit. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Becca waited in the hallway, pacing, praying. Brad brought her coffee. Claire sent photos of Grace. Detective Holloway stood guard. Then the call came. Verdict reached. They filed back into the courtroom. The jury foreman stood. In the matter of the People versus Marcus Hayes, on the count of attempted murder of Rebecca Hayes, we find the defendant guilty. Becca's legs went weak. On the count of attempted murder of Grace Hayes, we find the defendant guilty. Guilty. On the count of conspiracy to commit murder, guilty. On the count of insurance fraud, guilty. 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 Marcus slumped in his chair. Brennan put a hand on his shoulder, but it was over. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. The judge was a woman, 60-something, steel in her eyes. Mr. Hayes, she said, you betrayed every vow you made. You attempted to murder your wife and unborn child for money. You manipulated multiple people to carry out your plan. You show no remorse, no accountability, no humanity. She paused. I sentence you to 45 years in state prison. No possibility of parole. May God have mercy on your soul. 45 years. Marcus would be 83 when released. If he lived that long, it was over. Becca walked out of the courthouse. The sun was shining, birds singing, life continuing. She pulled out her phone, called Claire. It's done, she said. He's going away forever. Come home, Claire said. Grace is waiting. Home. That little apartment in Santa Monica, with its ocean view and milk-stained furniture and perfect imperfections. That was home now. And Marcus? Marcus was just a memory, a cautionary tale, a chapter closed forever. 1 year after the trial, a letter arrived. Becca almost threw it away without opening it. Prison mail from the California Correctional Institution. From Sienna Crawford, inmate number W52847. But curiosity won. She opened it while Grace napped. Her daughter was 15 months old now, walking, talking in single words. Mama, most frequently. No, a close second. The letter was handwritten, careful cursive, 3 pages. Dear Rebecca, you probably don't want to hear from me. I wouldn't blame you if you burned this without reading, but I'm writing anyway, because I owe you the truth. All of it. I'm in prison. 12 years. I've served 14 months. I deserve more. I deserve everything I got and worse. But I'm writing because my therapist says I need to take accountability. Real accountability, not just saying sorry to reduce my sentence, but actually understanding what I did, who I hurt, why it was wrong. I met Marcus 3 years ago. He hired me straight out of college. I was 25, naive, ambitious. He was 35, successful, charming, married. I knew he was married. I didn't care. At first it was just flirting, then lunch meetings, then drinks after work. He told me you were cold, distant, that the marriage was over in everything but name, that he only stayed for appearances. I believed him because I wanted to, because believing him meant I wasn't the villain. I was the new beginning, the upgrade, the future. He talked about you like you were an obstacle, a problem, something to be managed and eventually removed. I should have been horrified. Instead, I felt special, chosen. When he told me about the insurance policies, I thought it was romantic, planning our future, ensuring we'd have the money to start over. I didn't ask where the money would come from. I didn't want to know. But then he started talking about accelerating the timeline, about making it happen sooner. And I realized what he meant, what he'd always meant. Your death. I should have said no. Should have gone to the police. Should have warned you, but I was in too deep. I'd already compromised myself, already become an accomplice. And some terrible part of me thought, if we just did this one awful thing, then we could be happy, together, forever. I was so stupid. The day I poisoned your tea, I was shaking. I almost couldn't do it. But Marcus had been texting me all morning, pushing, pressuring, reminding me that we had come too far to back out now. I told myself you'd just go to sleep, that it would be painless, that you wouldn't suffer. I made myself believe I was being merciful, but that was all lies. I was trying to murder you, murder your baby, because a man I thought I loved told me to. When they arrested me, my first thought wasn't guilt. It was betrayal. Marcus said he'd protect me. He lied, just like he lied to you, just like he lied to everyone. In prison, I've had a lot of time to think, to read, to understand. My therapist diagnosed me with something called folie à deux, shared psychosis, when one person's delusions become shared by another. Marcus wasn't just my lover, he was my cult leader, and I was his willing follower. That's not an excuse. I made choices, bad choices, criminal choices. I deserve to be here, but I want you to know something. In case you're wondering, in case you're still trying to understand why Marcus never loved me. Just like he never loved you. He isn't capable of love, only possession, only control, only manipulation. We were both victims. That doesn't absolve me. I tried to kill you. Nothing changes that. But maybe it helps to know you didn't do anything wrong. You weren't blind, you weren't stupid, You weren't lacking. Marcus is just that good at manipulation. He fooled everyone, including himself. I'm getting therapy here, real therapy, working through trauma, taking medication, trying to become someone who would never do something like this again. I'll never be that person I was before, the naive college grad who believed in fairy tales. But maybe I can become someone better, someone who takes responsibility, someone who understands the weight of what I did. You don't have to forgive me. I'll never forgive myself. But I wanted you to know I'm sorry, truly, deeply sorry, not because it helps me, but because you deserve to hear it. You survived, you and Grace. That's a miracle. How about you? I'm glad, even though my actions tried to prevent it. I'm glad you're alive. If Marcus ever contacts you from prison, don't believe him. He'll try to manipulate you again, convince you he's changed, that he's sorry, that he wants a relationship with Grace. It's all lies. He's incapable of change. The only thing he regrets is getting caught. Stay away from him. Protect your daughter. Build a beautiful life. That's the best revenge. I know you don't owe me anything, but if you ever feel generous enough to write back, I'd appreciate it. Not for absolution, just for connection. Just to know that you heard me, that I'm more than the worst thing I ever did. But if you throw this letter away and never think of me again, I understand. That's probably what I deserve. Either way, I wish you and Grace every happiness. You've earned it. Sincerely, Sienna Crawford. Becca read the letter twice, then folded it carefully. Put it in a drawer. She didn't throw it away. But she didn't respond either. Some things didn't need a response. Some apologies had to stand alone. Unresolved. Unreconciled. Sienna was right about one thing. Marcus had manipulated them both, played them against each other, made them enemies when they should have been allies. But that didn't make them friends now. Didn't create a bond, didn't require forgiveness. Sienna would serve her time. Becca would live her life, and their paths would never cross again. That was enough. Grace woke from her nap crying. Becca went to her, lifted her from the crib, held her close. "Mama," Grace said, clear as day. "That's right, baby girl. Mama's here. Always here." She carried Grace to the window. They looked out at the ocean, waves crashing, seagulls calling, life continuing. "Your father is in prison," Becca whispered. "Your grandmother died. Your father's mistress wrote me a letter, but you don't need to know any of that yet. Someday I'll tell you, when you're old enough. When you ask questions I can't avoid." "Mama," Grace repeated, patting Becca's face. "But for now, it's just us, you and me, building something new, something better, something that was ours all along." She finally understood. The prison door had been unlocked all along. Fear kept her there. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of being alone. But she wasn't alone. She had Grace, she had Claire, she had Detective Holloway, who called every few months to check in. She had Brad, who'd become a friend. She had a whole network of people who'd helped her survive. And most importantly, she had herself, the woman she'd become. Stronger, wiser, free. Marcus took everything from her: money, security, trust, innocence. But he gave her something too, without meaning to, without wanting to. He gave her clarity, truth, the gift of knowing exactly who she was and what she could survive. And that was worth more than any insurance policy, any mansion, any fairy tale marriage. "We're going to be okay," Becca told her daughter. "Better than okay, we're going to be happy." Grace giggled, reached for a tanchway, already moved on to the next thing. Children did that, lived in the moment, didn't carry the past like luggage. Becca was learning that skill. Day by day, moment by moment, letting go of what was, embracing what is, building toward what could be. That was survival. That was healing. That was freedom. 2 years after the poisoning, Becca stood on a stage in front of 300 women. The conference was called Surviving the Unthinkable. 3 days of workshops, support groups, legal advice, self-defense classes, all for women who'd survived domestic violence, abuse, attempted murder. Women like Becca. She'd never planned to become an advocate, never wanted to be a public figure. But Detective Holloway had called 6 months ago, Asked if she'd speak at a small support group. Just 10 women. Just her story. She'd said yes. Then the local news picked it up. Then a victims' rights organization. Then a security camera company wanting to hire her as a spokesperson. Then this conference. And here she stood, 3-year-old Grace backstage with Claire, a room full of survivors waiting to hear her story. "My name is Rebecca Hayes," she began. "3 years ago, my husband tried to poison me. I was 8 months pregnant. He recruited his mistress to do the actual poisoning. He researched methods, took out insurance policies, planned everything carefully." The room was silent, focused. "I survived because of 3 things: smart paramedics, security cameras, and luck. A lot of luck." She clicked to the next slide, the security footage of Sienna entering her kitchen. The audience gasped. They'd seen it on the news, but seeing it live was different. "This camera saved my life. It documented the truth when everyone wanted to doubt me. When my husband said I was crazy. When his mother said I was lying. This camera saw what humans refuse to see." Next slide, Grace's newborn photo. "This is my daughter, Grace Eleanor Hayes. She was born healthy despite being exposed to poison for months. She's 3 years old now, fierce, funny, fearless, everything I'm teaching her to be." Next slide, Becca in the hospital bed, looking exhausted, broken, barely alive. "This is me 3 years ago. I was a victim. I felt powerless, betrayed, terrified. I didn't know how I was going to survive, how I'd raise a child alone, how I'd rebuild my life from nothing." Next slide, Becca today, healthy, strong, smiling. "This is me now. I'm not a victim anymore. I'm a survivor. There's a difference. Victims are defined by what happened to them. Survivors are defined by what they do next." She paused, let the words land. "So what did I do next? I testified at my husband's trial. Watched him get sentenced to 45 years. Started over in a new apartment with money I inherited from a grandmother I barely knew. Learned to be a single mother. Learned to trust again. Learned to build a life on my own terms." Next slide, her advocacy work, speaking engagements, consultations with security companies, support groups. "And I learned something important. My story isn't unique. Every day women are poisoned, abused, manipulated, gaslit, told they're crazy for seeing what's right in front of them. Every day, women survive the unthinkable. And every day, women rebuild." Next slide, statistics. 1 in 4 women experience severe intimate partner violence. 1 in 6 women are stalked. 1 in 3 women experience sexual violence. These numbers are staggering, but they're not just numbers. They're people. They're you. They're me. They're the women sitting next to you. We're everywhere, and we're survivors. Next slide, ways to help. Hotlines, resources, legal aid, shelters. If you're in danger, reach out. If you suspect someone is being abused, say something. Don't be like the people in my life who saw my husband's affair and stayed silent, who saw the warning signs and did nothing. Be the person who acts, who believes, who helps. Next slide, Grace on a swing, laughing, carefree, happy. "My daughter will grow up knowing her father is in prison. She'll ask questions I don't want to answer. She'll carry this story with her forever. But she'll also grow up knowing that her mother survived, that her mother fought back, that her mother built a beautiful life from ashes." Becca's voice broke, just slightly. "She'll know that women are strong, resilient, dangerous when we need to be. And she'll never, ever accept less than she deserves. Because I'm teaching her that she's enough, exactly as she is. No man can diminish that. No situation can erase it. She's enough." The room erupted in applause, standing ovation, women crying, hugging each other, finding strength in shared experience. Becca finished her presentation, answered questions, hugged strangers, exchanged contact information with other survivors. Then she went backstage. Grace ran to her, arms wide. "Mama, Mama, I heard you talking." "Did you like it? You were loud, and everyone clapped." "That's right, baby girl. Everyone clapped because Mama told the truth, and truth is powerful." Claire appeared with coffee. "You were amazing." I was terrified. You were amazing and terrified. Both things can be true. Detective Holloway approached. He'd been in the audience, supporting. That was incredible, he said. You're changing lives, Mrs. Hayes. Please call me Becca. We've been through enough together. Becca, then. He smiled. I'm proud of you. I know that's weird to say, but I am. You took something horrible and turned it into something meaningful. I had good teachers. You, Dershaw, Claire, Brad, all the people who believed me when it mattered. You believe yourself. That's what counts. Later in the hotel room, Becca ordered room service. Pizza for her and Grace, wine for her and Claire. They sat on the floor like college students, eating, laughing, being normal. I got a call this week, Becca said, from a publisher. They want me to write a book, my story, everything that happened. Are you going to do it? I don't know. Part of me wants to document it all, make sure it's not forgotten. But part of me just wants to move on. Leave Marcus in the past where he belongs. What does your gut say? Becca thought about it, really thought. Her gut had been wrong about Marcus, wrong about so much, but she was learning to trust it again, slowly. My gut says write the book, not for me, but for all the women who'll need it, who'll read my story and see themselves, who'll realize they're not alone, that survival is possible. Then write it. I will, but not yet. First, I need to finish healing, finish becoming whoever I'm supposed to be on the other side of this. Who is that? I don't know yet, but I'm figuring it out, day by day. Grace fell asleep on the hotel bed, exhausted from the excitement. Becca lay next to her, watched her chest rise and fall. This perfect person who came from horror, who survived against all odds, who represented everything good that could come from darkness. I love you, Becca whispered, more than I knew that I could love anything. You're my miracle. Grace stirred, mumbled something in her sleep, settled back into dreams. Becca pulled out her phone, scrolled through photos. Grace at 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, a record of their life together, their survival. She thought about Marcus, sitting in prison, ying, alone. Did he think about them? Did he regret? Did he feel anything at all? Probably not. Narcissists didn't change. They just got bitter, blamed everyone else, played the victim forever. Let him. It didn't matter anymore. He was a chapter closed, a lesson learned, a cautionary tale. Becca's phone buzzed, email from the security camera company. They wanted her to film a commercial. Don't be a victim. Be prepared. Something like that. She'd probably say yes. The money was good, the message important, and it felt right, using the thing that saved her to save others. Full circle. She typed a response, agreed to a meeting, then put the phone away. Tomorrow she'd go back to Santa Monica, back to her small apartment in her big life, back to Grace's preschool and her advocacy work and her slowly healing heart. But tonight she was here, in this hotel room, with her daughter and her best friend, safe, free, alive. That was enough. More than enough. It was everything. 5 years after the poisoning, Becca stood in the Connecticut estate Vivian had left her. She'd finally decided to visit. The house had been sitting empty, maintained by a property manager, waiting. It was beautiful. Colonial style, 10 acres, ocean views, nothing like the cold Malibu mansion. This felt warm, lived in, loved. Grace was 5 now, starting kindergarten in the fall. She ran through the rooms, exploring, claiming space. Mama, there's a swing set. Go play, but stay where I can see you. Grace ran outside. Claire followed, protective as always. Becca walked through the house alone. Master bedroom, guest rooms, a library with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a sunroom, a nursery that had never been used. She stopped in that nursery, looked at the empty crib, the faded wallpaper, the rocking chair covered in dust. Vivian had wanted children. Couldn't have them. Adopted a boy who became a monster. Spent her life covering for him, protecting him, until she couldn't anymore. I forgive you, Becca whispered to the empty room. You did the right thing at the end. That matters. Did it? She wasn't sure, but she wanted it to, wanted to believe people could change, could choose differently, could make amends. Even if it was too late, she pulled out her phone, took photos, the estate, the grounds, the potential. She could sell it, use the money for Grace's college fund, for her advocacy work, for security and comfort in future. Or she could keep it, turn it into something new. A retreat center maybe, for survivors, a place to heal, to rebuild, to remember they're not alone. She'd decide later. Right now, she just wanted to stand in this space, this gift from a dying woman, this attempt at redemption. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her. Hello? This call is from California Correctional Institution. An inmate is attempting to contact you. Press 1 to accept. Press 2 to... Becca hung up. Marcus, still trying to reach her, still believing he could manipulate, control, explain. She blocked the number, then called Brad. Marcus tried to call me, she said. That's the third time this year. Want me to file a restraining order? Can you do that against someone already in prison? Absolutely. No contact order. He'll face additional charges if he tries again. Do it. Consider it done. She hung up, looked out at the Connecticut countryside, at Grace playing on the swing set, at Claire pushing her higher, at the life she'd built from ruins. Marcus thought he'd destroyed her, thought she'd crumble without him, thought she was nothing. He was wrong. She was everything. Everything he'd never understood, never valued, never deserved. And she was done letting him occupy space in her head, done wondering why, done trying to make sense of the senseless. Some prisons have bars. Others have white picket fences. The key was inside her all along. She'd finally turned it, finally walked free, finally understood that survival wasn't just about staying alive. It was about staying true. To herself, to her daughter, to the truth. And the truth was this. Rebecca Hayes survived the unthinkable. She built a beautiful life. She helped others do the same. And Marcus? Marcus was exactly where he belonged, locked away, forgotten. A footnote in her story, not the main character. Not anymore. Never again. Becca walked outside, joined Claire and Grace on the swing set, pushed her daughter higher. Look, Mama, I'm flying. Yes, you are, baby girl. We both are. Flying free, finally. And that was the ending she'd earned. Not the one Marcus planned. Not the one anyone expected. The one she chose. And it was shocking in the best possible way. Rebecca's story didn't end with Marcus's conviction. It began there. She rebuilt her life, became an advocate, helped thousands of other survivors find their voice, find their strength, find their freedom. And that's why I share these stories with you, not for entertainment, but for truth, for awareness, for the hope that one person listening right now might recognize the warning signs in their own life, might find the courage to leave, might survive. If this story resonated with you, if Rebecca's journey moved you or taught you something, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Tell me what surprised you most, what moment hit hardest, what lesson you were taking away. And if you believe these stories matter, if you think more people need to hear them, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who might be sitting in their own prison, someone who needs permission to turn the key. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Because every week I bring you true stories of survival, stories of ordinary people facing extraordinary evil, stories that end not with tragedy, but with triumph. Your support means everything. Every like tells the algorithm to share this story wider. Every comment builds a community of survivors and supporters. Every share might literally save a life. That's not hyperbole. That's truth. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring about Rebecca's story, about Grace's future, about the truth that needs to be told. Remember, survival is possible. Healing is possible. Freedom is possible. And you're stronger than you know. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never stop fighting for your own freedom. I'll see you in the next story.